Maya thought she was just driving to her best friend's destination wedding. She had no idea that a single flat tire on a deserted road would lead her directly to the man she was actually meant to meet. The energetic pop music blasting from her car stereo suddenly cut out as a sickening thump-thump-thump echoed through the vehicle. Maya pulled her sedan onto the dusty shoulder of Highway 9, miles away from civilization. She threw the car into park, groaning as she rested her forehead against the cold steering wheel. She tapped her phone screen. No service. Searching. She stepped out into the afternoon heat, staring helplessly at the completely flattened rear tire. Opening the trunk, she looked at the jack and spare tire, feeling completely out of her depth. Just as panic began to creep in, the low rumble of an engine broke the quiet. A sleek black SUV pulled up right behind her car. A young man stepped out, wearing a sharp blazer over a casual t-shirt, checking his watch with a tense, hurried look. He walked over with fast strides and asked if everything was okay. Maya admitted that she had a flat tire, no phone signal, and had never actually changed a tire in her life. The man ran a hand through his hair, explaining that he'd love to help, but he was running extremely late for a critical meeting. Maya looked down the empty, quiet highway, then looked up at him with pleading eyes, begging for just 10 minutes of his time. He stopped, checked his watch one last time, and let out a long breath as his stern look softened. He crouched down to unbolt the wheel, but as he pulled the flat tire off, his brow furrowed. He pointed out that the sidewall was completely shredded, meaning she couldn't drive all the way to the coast on a temporary spare. Luckily, there was a small repair shop in Mill Creek just 5 miles ahead. With practiced ease, he mounted the temporary spare and told her to follow him there so a mechanic could fix it properly. As he tightened the last bolt, Maya gave him a grateful smile, hoping she hadn't ruined a major business deal for him. He let out a short, self-deprecating laugh and admitted it was actually worse. It was a blind date set up by his sister, and he was already 30 minutes late. 20 minutes later, both cars were parked outside a quiet repair shop in Mill Creek. An older mechanic stepped out, looked at the tire, and estimated it would take about 40 minutes to mount a new one, suggesting they grab a coffee across the street while they waited. Maya turned to the man and told him he'd done way more than enough and didn't need to stay. He glanced at his watch again, then quietly slipped his phone back into his pocket with a calm smile. At this point, he was already late, so another 40 minutes wouldn't make much difference anyway. He gestured toward a rustic diner across the road and offered to buy her a coffee. Inside the cozy diner, the rich smell of roasted coffee filled the air as they sat at a corner booth with 2 hot mugs between them. He explained how his sister had been playing matchmaker for 2 years, but he dreaded formal dating because people focused so much on savings, career, and credit scores that it felt like a corporate job interview. Maya agreed completely, noting how people get so busy checking boxes that they forget to see if they actually like the person. He shared his story of spending the last 6 years paying off student loans, helping his brother through college, and building his career, only for people to make instant assumptions about him because he rented a small apartment. Maya reassured him that building a life from scratch takes real strength and was something to be proud of. Right then, an elderly waitress carrying a heavy tray stumbled near their table, spilling a couple of water glasses onto the floor. Before anyone else could react, Maya immediately slid out of the booth, gently helping the elderly woman balance herself and picking up the fallen glasses before the flustered waitress could even apologize. The man watched Maya with a subtle, warm smile, deeply admiring her instinctive kindness. When Maya sat back down, he asked what she was looking for in life. Maya smiled gently, saying she just wanted an equal partner, someone to share the quiet moments with, but also someone who wouldn't abandon her when the tires blew out on the highway. They both laughed, an effortless comfort settling over them. For 40 minutes, there was no pretense and no pressure, just 2 real people connecting effortlessly. When they walked back across the street, the mechanic handed over her keys, all fixed up. Maya paid the bill, holding her receipt. She turned around to face the man who had turned her stressful day into something special, expressing how truly grateful she was. She pulled a pen from her bag and scribbled a phone number on the back of her repair receipt, handing it to him with a playful smile. She teased that if his blind date didn't work out because of the delay, he should give her single, sweet friend a call. He chuckled, taking the slip of paper, and mentioned that after spending an hour together, he had never even introduced himself properly. He told her his name was Julian. Maya stared at him for a quiet moment. Something about that name sounded instantly familiar. Then, her eyes widened in realization as she asked if he was Julian Miller. Julian looked confused, wondering how she knew his full name. Just then, Julian's phone vibrated in his hand. The signal in town had finally returned. 3 missed calls from his sister flashed across the screen before it rang once more. Julian answered on speaker. His sister's frustrated voice echoed through the phone, asking where on earth he was and complaining that Maya had waited at the diner in town for 40 minutes before leaving. Julian slowly lowered the phone, looking at the girl standing right in front of him in total shock. Maya burst out into a soft, radiant laugh, shaking her head at the incredible irony of the universe. She stepped closer with a gentle twinkle in her eye, telling him it looked like he didn't miss his blind date after all. Julian laughed softly, shaking his head, realizing that the universe had much better plans for them than either of them imagined. For the first time that day, neither of them was in a hurry to leave. Sometimes, life takes the longest detour just to bring 2 people exactly where they were always meant to be. If this story brought a smile to your face, please give it a like and share it with someone who believes in destiny. Don't forget to subscribe to Emotional Diary for more heartwarming stories every week. Until next time, take care.